What's up, guys? Welcome back to Entertainment Hub 92. Today we're going to be going over haunted house attractions. This is somewhat a part of the Urban Legends series I have started, but I want this to be more of go and visit these places because it is possible and you can pay. To start us off, I'd like to say, people like to be scared. We love roller coasters, scary movies, and Ouija boards. But we only truly enjoy fear when it is coached in a safe environment. In that context, the elimination of that doubting voice in your head, the sharpening of reflexes, and the rush of adrenaline that accompanies terror can be euphoric. This is why scary mazes, haunted houses, and ghostly prison events are so popular. In 2013, NBC reported that haunted houses were a $300 million per year industry. This popularity has spiked in the years since. Haunted attractions manufacture fear. They begin by breaking down our desire to remain rational and force us to react to stimuli, overpowering our better logic. The best haunted houses do this seamlessly and beautifully. What follows aren't the sort of strip mall scare mills run by community organizations and staffed by people who thought pretending to be an undead clown was better than spinning a flat screen TV sign like a baton. These are the kind of big budget horror fests with staff Scientologists. They are looking at the science of fear and devising ways to trigger panic and terror in your brain. Number 10. Knott's Scary Farm, California. This is the classic. It's the first largest and longest running theme park Halloween event in the world. In 2010, and argued that all over Halloween events at theme parks are copycats, in fairness, Knott's has been operating their Scary Farm even since 1973. So the others do appear to be creepies come lately. For the camp, hit up Elvira, Mistress of the Dark show, or the farm's other show, The Hanging, Fake Noose. But if you want the scares, hit the mazes like Dark Ride, The Pumpkin Eater, Red Barn, Voodoo, The Tooth Fairy, and Paranormal Incorporated. That's not even all of them. There are a lot of mazes filled with actors committed to freaking you out. Number 9. Terror Behind the Walls of Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In 1991, the Eastern State Penitentiary Historic Site started to run Halloween events to raise money for the architecturally significant prison. In 1995, they hit upon a winner with Terror Behind the Walls, a wet-your-pants, scare, immersive experience. They have always committed to the cutting edge of horror and to high-quality costumes and props. In 2001, the event included one of the first 3D haunted houses in the country, and the only one in the southeastern Pennsylvania. It consistently ranked among the best attractions of this type in the country. Hell, Forbes named it number 1. Guests can decide whether they'd like to remain and observe or participate in an interactive experience. When they enter the event, if you opt for interactive, you can be grabbed, detained, removed from the group, etc. This year, Terror Behind the Walls has 6 attractions. So you can choose between things like quarantine situations with hallucinations and being trapped by inmates during a breakout. Or you can buy tickets to hit up all 6 and forego sleeping until December. Number 8. Halloween Horror Nights, Hollywood, California, and Orlando, Florida. You may know Halloween Horror Nights by the name Fright Nights, which is what it was called when the haunt was initiated in Orlando in 1991, with a single haunted house, the Dungeon of Terror. Universal Studios Hollywood had its own Halloween events in 1986 and 1992, but it didn't launch Halloween Horror Nights until 1997. Now, Orlando and Hollywood both host the event, as do locations in Japan and Singapore. The great thing about Universal is that they have the rights to a lot of scary things, which is why this year's events include The Shining, Saw, American Horror Story. And that doesn't just mean someone dressed like Piggy from Season 6, Roanoke. No, that means Ryan Murphy in the 20th Century Fox meets with the theme park staff to capture the environments, characters, and unbridled terror from the show and translate it into something that will leave you breathing hard and afraid of the dark. There are also houses themed around vampires, a Depression-era farm, a voodoo queen, and Ash vs. Evil Dead. Number 7. The Scarehouse, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You know that your haunted house is legit when Guillermo del Toro, the director of Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, and Crimson Peak, says it really is beautiful. With the sound, design, and atmospherics, it is beautiful. I could live here. When Michael Daughtry, the director of Trick or Treat and Krampus, adds, "I left so happy and inspired, you guys nailed it." There's no room left to question. Launched in 1999, Scarehouse is currently housed in a historic building that used to be the location for the Aetna First National Bank. It's owned by Wayne and Scott Simmons, who have over 2 decades of experience in the haunt industry. Each year, Scarehouse does 3 attractions. This year, they are Infernal, all collection of cursed artifacts that released a legion of demons from hell. Noctunia, a twisted carnival of clowns and creatures with 3D effects. In the Sunset Lodge, new for 2017, a hotel filled with savage serial killers. For those over 18, there is an additional option, the basement. This is a sign and waiver type of situation. Only 2 adults enter at a time, and it is not a linear walkthrough. It's completely interactive. That means strangers will be up on you. They use psych research, thanks to Dr. Margie Kerr, to exploit fears, but they maintain them in a good taste to avoid exploiting vulnerable populations. Number 6. Netherworld Haunted House, Atlanta, Georgia. When the Netherworld launched in 1997, it was rather unique in that it crafted a unique storyline for visitors at a time when other haunted attractions were depending on existing film tropes as themes. It was founded by television and film professionals, including costume, makeup, and creature designers and fabricators. For your information, a lot of the crew are involved with the production of The Walking Dead. All this expertise is why the haunts are known for their innovative lighting, sound effects, and sets. This is an attraction that keeps its focus narrow to achieve the scariest experience possible. This year there are only 2 haunts, but they are goodies. There is Primal Scream, a haunt about the origin masters of the world and the old ones, coming together to rid the blighted earth from humans. And there is Mr. Griddle's Funhouse of Horror, a 3D extravaganza with aliens, clowns, monsters, and Mr. Griddle himself, who butchers and eats people. You know, as one does. Also, be prepared for nightmarishly costumed actors to stalk you through the parking lot before you even buy a ticket to enter the event. Number 5. 100 Acres Manor, Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. This is another Pennsylvania location. I don't know what it is about this state, but they know how to scare people senseless. 100 Acres Manor opened in 2003 on a location previously associated with an attraction called Phantoms in the Park. And it established itself as one of the best attractions in the country, if not the world. Seriously, experts like the Scare Factor, Haunted World, and Fright Tour have all lauded it with top spots on their best of lists. This is the only charity hunt on this list, having donated over $1 million to the Homeless Children's Education Fund and Animal Friends, 2 Pittsburgh charities, but that's where the sweetness ends. This haunt is positioned squarely in the center of the woods with no nearby structures or coming and going to protect visitors. Instead, a sense of total isolation pervades the space. The building where the attraction is set used to hold an old swimming pool, and tales of drowning, murders, and evil doings were established. Even staff think it's haunted. Guests take an elevator to the catacombs, where they are herded through a series of close quarters, filled with demented scenes and exceptionally costumed characters doing classic jump scares. Number 4. Cutting Edge Haunted House, Fort Worth, Texas. 3 words: abandoned meat packing factory. Maybe 4 words if you want to argue about how hyphens work. Regardless, we're talking about a 100-year-old plant in the center of an area that used to be called Hell's Half Acre. Not only is the setting for Cutting Edge perfect, it's huge. In 2009, this haunt was literally awarded the Guinness World Record for world's largest haunted house. In 2015, the Illustrious Award for world's largest haunted attraction and world's largest walk-through haunted house were bestowed upon them. It takes close to an hour to get through the whole thing. That's a lot of time to risk puking in terror. They take full advantage of the setting, using meatpacking equipment from the Old West in a 2-story arrangement that hoists up realistic mannequins to the second level, conveys them through a second floor of horrors, and delivers butchered corpse back to the first floor. There are also animations, live sets, and actors in disturbing costumes, wandering around to terrify visitors. Last year, visitors were treated to a game where you had to find a hidden door among the mayhem. This is an easy time to get scared and trampled by other scared people. And a foam pit. That's right, foam pit. It's like scary Ibiza. Number 3. Dent Schoolhouse, Cincinnati, Ohio. This one has a special place in our hearts, as it takes place in a genuine schoolhouse, with its own grisly history. If you follow American folklore, yes, fine, and urban legends, you may know the story of the schoolhouse and its janitor, Charlie McFray, who slowly amassed the broken, bloodied bodies of missing school children in the building basement in the 40s and 50s. It's a history of which the current owners have taken full advantage since 2005. And it's so produced because they are obsessed with detail, making sure things look authentic and freaking scary. This haunt reveals itself in a style of a film, like something out of Nightmare on Elm Street. Visitors walk through hallways, classrooms, and a cafeteria, ripe with darkness and menace. There are perverse teachers, grisly monsters, and abused students. Cries for help fill the air, but the scariest area by far is the basement, home to dear old Charlie McFray. That's where shit gets real. Suddenly, the terror of earlier portions of the school comes to a climax when Charlie's deeds are revealed and visitors come face to face with the murderous janitor. Number 2. The 13th Gate, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The 13th Gate has been around for a while, but they didn't get a lot of attention before Haunt World started shouting them out. Why are they such a favorite among experts? The realism. Each area of the haunt is purposefully designed like a Hollywood set. The snake pit? Yep. Those are real snakes. Actors have developed full characters. They taunt and scare with focus and energy. Visitors are fully drawn into an immersive experience with characters appearing and disappearing, losing limbs, and disguised as animatronics. People who say they don't frighten easy find themselves screaming in full voice and pulling away from scares. Housed in 2 adjacent structures, the haunt is themed as a grimy industrial basement. The walls, rather than being cheap plastic or latex, are cold, hard plaster, and they are covered in rust and rot. A bank of 4 elevators greet visitors, who are led into them a few at a time. Upon exiting, you hit gate number 2 and work your way consecutively through the next 10. This means you may get to spend time in the House of Wax, a claustrophobia tunnel, a crematory, and a voodoo bayou, among other areas. Each is immaculately staged and sure to leave you flushed and shaking. This year, the newest area is pirate-themed, with a large ship sitting on water. Number 1. Erebus, Pontiac, Michigan. Yes, cutting-edge haunted houses have held the Guinness World Record for largest walk-through haunted attractions, but Erebus held it longer, from 2005 to 2009. This 4-story haunt opened in an abandoned parking garage in 2000. The space had been abandoned for 50 years and was functioning as an indoor junkyard when the owners used their background making haunted attractions to turn it into one of the best in the country. Over 100,000 square feet is hell on earth, and the rest of the building is storage and shop space, where one-of-the-kind animatronics are made. The owners also published Fear Finder, a seasonal publication that enables people in Michigan to locate haunted attractions. As with other haunts on this list, the events and effects change every year, but the basic theme is constant. Guests get sent to a number of eras in history by mad scientists. The sets are really intricate and include things like obstacle course walls that move, giant animatronics that eat patrons, bodies that fly out of coffins and onto people, and mushy, floored swamps. They feed on basic fears, so there are things like small areas to trigger claustrophobia, and times when spiders may rain from the sky to get your arachnophobia in full gear. But the best part is the Wimp Out scoreboard tallying wimps and wetters. Yes, this attraction has literally been wet your pants scare for hundreds of folks.